Good afternoon. Good morning. Thank you guys for coming to my observation 3 video. The last 2 meetings we talked about our needs, and our need we noticed is the students are not answering the question fully for the ECRs and the SCRs. So hello, my name is Tashayla Williams. This is observation number 3, where I will share the progress that students made after implementing the strategies from our ACR SCR focus group meeting. And I will explain the agenda that we'll be moving on to the next cycle. Can you guys introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Lanicia Palmer. I'm the reading interventionist.
I am Mocha Young, 6th grade science teacher.
Okay, so after our focus group meeting, our team agreed on 2 main instructional strategies to improve the ECRs and the SCRs. So we agreed that, of course, writing across contents and the other non-core classes will be writing, and they have agreed to write 1 ECR per report card and the SCR every 2 weeks. We also agreed on making sure we use the race strategy and breaking up the ECRs into paragraphs, just so we can help them as we're moving on to high school. I have noticed that teachers are modeling how to write an ECR in front of the kids. They have rubrics on their desk, and we are using, of course, the race strategy. Students are practicing using the STAR rubric weekly, so before they submit, they look at the rubric and they understand, did I answer this correctly and anything's missing? We have collaborated in our PLC and graded their ECRs. Ms. Young, have you noticed any student growth?
Between when and
When we first started implementing the writing across content?
yes, I actually have noticed quite a bit of growth between the time.
Can you elaborate on what kind of growth? What are some things you've seen? What are some things we should improve on?
Let's see. So I have noticed that kids are implementing the race strategy more. Also, they're doing better at finding evidence within the articles to support their claims, but they do still need to work more on, like just the flow of it, if that makes sense.
Ms. Palmer, since you see all of the students here?
I have seen a little bit of growth. Like Ms. Young said, they are now, using the race strategy and finding the evidence. And I think the biggest thing is the conventions. And with the conventions, I've seen a little bit of growth as far as that, but there's still an area of concern with the conventions. And again, that's something that in that ELA classes that needs to be, probably in the instruction a little more so they can identify it. It's like when we tell them to identify it, they do it. But then when they write their ECR, their SCR, it's like they forget. And it's like, okay, I know a sentence should start with a capital letter. I know when to use a comma, things of that nature. So it's basically one of those things of repetition. And if we keep doing the repetition, then we will see continuous growth.
Okay, and I know for me, I have noticed the kids answer the question, so they receive a 2 or 3 for ideal development organization. However, they're in zeros for the language convention, as Ms. Plummer mentioned. And so when you ask them, in Writable, we use Writable, it's how they submit, and it tells them they have 20 grammar mistakes. Then, because the kids don't go back and read, they're struggling with that. So I can point out, read your first sentence, and they're able to catch the mistake. So I think we need to figure out how we're gonna implement something where, not pure editing, because I don't think that would work, but yeah. Or like how when we was growing up, we had to revise and edit our work. Now since it's online, it's gonna be hard. But how can we have students revise their work? Like the rough draft.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't know if would it be beneficial for the kids to actually write it down in their journal first and then copy?
Yeah, that might be something. Yeah. Or have them verbally say it before they, because again, once they do verbally read it, they be like, dang, that don't sound right. but it's like, again, I don't know if it's the race to the finish. Once they feel like they have it, they don't want to look over because they ready to turn it in, things of that nature. So, definitely, maybe doing the rough draft part, I think that would be sufficient.
Yeah, the verbal part, I don't know because some kids write how they talk, so they're gonna read it and they're gonna say, "This sound good." So that.
That is.
So, as having them type it in their, not type it, write in their notebook first, or just have them, or giving them time to type it and then give them 5 minutes. Okay, you need 5 minutes. I want you to start from front, then start reading over what you wrote and editing it.
Yeah.
Which one you think would be best? I know I had modeled a lesson and I gave an ECR. It had a whole bunch of mistakes and the kids was able to point it out.
Yeah, when they know to do it, it's like that, but when they write it, I don't know.
Or you can, when you y'all can do corrections as a class with their examples, but anonymous.
Yeah. So we worked on that, but it's more of getting the kids to automatically do it. So before I turn my work in, then I go back and revise and edit. Because what I recently did was I turned off the grammar aid in Writable, and I know most of our team has turned it off because the students are so used for the word to pop up under blue, underline. So that's how they see mistakes. But now that we turned it off, the kids are not actually going back and reading what they're all. They just, I'm done. Can you see my feedback? And then they're confused when they receive their feedback of why they got a 2 and not a 4.
Yeah, I think that's something. And maybe it's trial and error. One class, let them write it down first, or then the next class, let them type it and then give them the 5 minutes and see which one is more effective. Especially because we're using it for non-core classes too, so you can get that feedback from other teachers as well.
And I had collected the Writable data. On average, students with 58% of students were receiving a 0 to a 1. 12% of students receiving a 3 or higher. But now that we have implemented this, we have seen a score increase of 2.8%. Students scoring a 3 or higher increased from 12% to 38%, and students scoring a 0 to 1 dropped from 58% to 21%. So what we're doing is working, but we just gotta make sure we refine our technique to ensure that all students are benefiting from this writing across content.
And then I guess maybe honing on those students that's still struggling, like taking a little extra time with them, or dive into exactly what their gap is for them at that moment. So.
Okay, Ms. Young, since you are the science teacher, how did the students react to them writing ECR in class?
How do they react? As in with playing?
No, were they like, okay, I know what I was doing, or did they act like they first wrote it, or was they acting confused? What was it?
They were used to it since they already do it in their English class, but they didn't understand why they had to write in science when really you have to write in every subject. But it was just a matter of connecting the vocabulary
with the thing. Okay, so did you notice that? Were they looking at the posters in your classroom for race, or did they automatically know what they were doing?
They already knew.
But was it useful for our special population kids, our SPED, our EB?
The race poster? Yes. It was just for them to refer back to.
Okay. Well, let's talk about our SCRs. That also was something we struggled with for the reading SCRs because students struggled with writing whole ECR. So are they able to tell now the difference? Because at first, on average, students were scoring a 1, and only 19% of students were scored a 2. Now, 49% of students are receiving a 2, which means they have answered the question correctly, and they have text edits to support their work. So I still do believe that this is something that we should still continue to work on, just to ensure that our scores are improving and making sure we're getting to that beat since we are a transformational school now. In spring, I have to.
Now, with the, since we're doing it in like science and math and things of that nature, are those teachers collaborating with the ELA teacher or they're just doing it, you know?
So when we first started, we did pass out the different race cards and different from that, and we did show them how to use Writable.
Okay.
We explained that the Writable grades
Like
it,
crazy.
grades it like stars. So we're trying to give them as much practice
Okay.
as they can.
Okay.
And I know most teachers have implemented the policy, but I know we're still struggling in the elective classes because
Okay.
they just don't understand why do we have to write inquiry or PE. So that is one thing maybe as an interventionist you can assist with.
Okay.
And explain the importance of writing across country.
And I mean, PE, they like to do it, so they like to write about it. It's just how to tailor it, the prompt, you know, something of that nature. So.
Okay, I have emailed you guys some samples of kids' ECRs, the beginning, and what it looked like at the end. Can you just review it? Then we can look over it, and then we're gonna collaborate and grade the students' ECRs by the STAR rubric. Okay, let's look at the first one. What do we think the student receive according to the STAR? Again, remember they get up to 3 points for ideal and development, and they get up to 2 points for convention.
I agree and disagree, right?
Yes. So for ideal and development, why?
I would probably say a 2. Does answer well. The question was, do you agree or disagree?
With the narrative description.
And see, they gave both answers.
Look at this shit.
It was work.
I got a science and an English and another English, but we not gonna do it.
So I would probably give a 2. They do give evidence, in conventions. I'm gonna give 1. It's a lot of misspelled words, things of that nature. So,
Ms. Young? Out of 3 points for ideal and development in organization, how well did the student answer the question and develop their essay? Out of 0 to 3 points, what do you think the student just got?
2 or 3. I would say perhaps I give them a 2.
A 2?
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm just gonna start with the paragraph, and the fact that he used textual evidence to support his claims. He followed the race strategy as well. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. How many points do you think the student received for language provisions? Again, this is like your grammar, 0 up to 2 points.
I would say, but I would say it's not too many misspelled things. I've seen worse. I'd probably give it a 2.
Okay, so this student, according to Writable, received 2 points for ideal development organization and received 1 point for language convention. And so the feedback that Writable gave is your response shows great effort in analyzing the narrator's reasoning to make your argument stronger. The students just have revised and edit the conclusion.
yeah.
Also, it does have a little bit mistakes because the student did not finish their conclusion. And then also the student did not clearly how transition works between different points. And because the questioning asks, did you agree or disagree? And the student put I agree and disagree with the narrative description. And it has to be 1. So we're all kind of on the same point of grading, so we're not looking at the next one, which is if you were to ask me,
And then the question again is if you agree or disagree.
with the narrative description of what happened. And then they have valid reason to kill the old man. hard. This hard, we're gonna start with you.
So I probably would give this person that's pretty good. I like how I would have to say a 3, 4.
Ideal development.
And then I would say, I don't really see much negativity when it comes to the convention, so yeah, I give them a 2.
Okay, so 4 altogether.
Yeah.
Miss Young.
For the convention,
For ideal development.
idea development, I definitely think he definitely had a clear thesis, multiple pieces of evidence, let's see, strong explanation. I'd give him perhaps a 3.
Okay, and for the conventions, what would you listen?
Convention, based off the star scale, which is it? I give him a 3.
2, that's the highest.
I mean,
A 2.
a 2, sorry.
Okay, so as you looking at this, according to Writable, which grades it aligned to STAR rubric, this student receives a 4. He did not receive a 2.
So yeah,
So what do we think you received a point under ideal in organization or for convention?
it gotta be idea
And it's because he did not actually answer the question, so it says
yeah,
the question,
that's all I was gonna say. Yeah.
the question was do you agree or disagree with the narrative description of what happened? And did he have a valid reason to killing the old man?
Yeah.
And so
He gave the valid. He says a valid, but he don't say if he agree or disagree.
yes, and then he didn't really argue. Was it justified? He pretty much explained what happened in my list, but he didn't really like, was it justified or not? Then we're gonna look at the next one. Check the desk. Okay. Ms. Palmer, we'll start with you. What did the student receive and why?
They do answer the question. I don't know I mean, they use text evidence, but I don't know if it's supported enough. I would probably give a 1 in idea, and then maybe a 1 in convention.
Okay. Ms. Young, what would you give the student for idea and development? Remember, students can get up to 3 points for this part.
Idea and development. I would give them a 0, and for convention, I'd give them a 1.
Okay. So this student received a 1 for idea and development and received a 2 for convention.
Oh wow, interesting.
And so the response was your response showed that you're thinking critically about the narrative action, and it's a great start. The student in your writing tried clarifying your argument, provided in more details to support your claims and to improve a present clear, coherent argument so that needs to read can easily follow your reason, understanding your perspective. Then it says, of course, revise your claim and think about your organization, and also mention what the student had put. In conclusion, I agree with the narrator as I read the paragraph and put 2 and 2 together. And this is more of the student is writing as a talk and not writing as a scholar. And the student received a 2. We move on to the next one. Our thoughts.
They do answer the question and give valid reason why they disagree. That this is not what's happening. It even gave me some thought like that. I didn't even look at the story like that. So I probably would give a 3 and idea and development and a 2.
For the Language Convention?
Yeah.
Ms. Young?
I would also give them a 3 out of 3. They did have a clear and consistent claim that they disagree with the narrator. They used multiple pieces of textual evidence, and I did show that they had a good understanding of the story. For the conventions, I would give them. Okay, so they did make some grammatical errors, like some commas, run-ons, maybe a couple misspellings. So if it was me, I would say 1 out of 2, but based on how they grade, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 2 based off the last one they read. Since they got a, so I'm gonna say a 2.
Yes, the student receives it fine, but also remember when Star grades it grades it when you read it. Are you able to read it differently? When it comes to different mistakes, it would change the way you read it.
Gotcha. So it did change the way.
So the student received a 5, and the only feedback that it received from Writable is consider adding more explanation after you quote to clarify how it supports your argument. So the student did use race well. You can see it all inside her 5 paragraphs, but when she goes, this evidence from the pastor shows how the narrator shows no remorse for his action, doesn't fear the police, and would find only the man from the crime. So she should have wrapped it more up to her claim. But other than that, she was amazing. The student received a 5. And we have 1 more left. One more time. Okay. So for idea and development, what do you think the student received?
I really want to say a 3, but I'm gonna go with a 2. And then conventions a 1.
Okay. Michelle?
To say, I do a 1. Writing conventions. I would also do a 1.
Okay, so this student received a 2 altogether. They received 2 points for ideal and development,
And they got a 0.
and 0 for language commission.
It's a little.
And then as you read, they're spelling paragraph right and correctly in paragraph 3, but in paragraph 2 the words spelled incorrectly are like the inclusion, little different words that either.
Yeah, and how they separate relationship.
And a lot of words is either around on the race posters or it's like words that was inside the story that are misspelled. So how do you think we can support this student? Because clearly they're answering the question correctly. It's just more of the convention.
Yeah, it's probably having grammar review with them often. Maybe it's always an easy ticket for them, or
like a spiral now.
Yeah, or have them revise and edit another work, somebody else's work. Because I honestly think they might just not know how to spell.
So I have thought about, I know that's up in the district above all our pay rates, of asking, like, seeing if we can incorporate spelling tests even with our curriculum, because I know when I taught elementary, the words like 4th grade, it was the American Revolution, or it was polio. So it was spelling words that were related to whatever it was. It wasn't nothing in general that the kids use daily. So maybe that is something we can implement, because a lot of times it is just the spelling.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be the R is commas. The students, they add commas everywhere. Ms. Young, what is your thoughts?
I would say provide them perhaps with some sentence starters that model good grammar for them. And I know back when I was writing, they said try not to use the words like should've, could've. Instead say should have, could have, because instead of should have, they put should of, so OF. So that would probably minimize some errors for sure.
So before we started this, the students receiving only 14% of students earn points in convention, and 71% of students earn a 0. Now, conventions improved slightly, so 23% of students are receiving points for conventions, but it still remains our lowest scoring category. So we do know the students are comfortable using race. We see it evident in all of the writing samples we see from students, but the only issue is what we notice is students are not catching run-on sentences, fragments, or punctuation issues, or they spelling words that could have easily been found around the classroom or inside the story. So we have noticed they're skipping the editing process. So we know we agreed on having the kids write before they type, and what about we have 12 minutes to write, then we give them 4 minutes to go back, read what they wrote, and edit it. So they can understand that we must do this before we submit.
Right.
We think that's an idea.
And I think like all assignments need to be like that too. You know, if it's not a writing assignment, like in depth, like that, we don't have to give 4 minutes, 1 minute just to check over what you did, things of that nature. And that's across all content. Yeah.
Okay, so we agreed on. Then I know we also missing spiral the nouns for revising and editing. So would that be like a passage, and they answer revising and editing questions, or would it be a paragraph and they revise and edit that paragraph?
I think you can play with both. You can introduce, both of those aspects.
And then I also was gonna mention to Ms. Thomas, because I do notice a lot of times when it comes to the spelling, it's the typing part. So see, we can incorporate something where students. I don't want to go back to how we learned, but like when we was growing up, it was a test of how fast could you type without looking down and getting it correct. So I don't know if it's something we can incorporate, because sometimes the student just so happen to press the wrong button and doesn't even realize it.
Yeah. But then that's what the editing part gonna be to catch something.
Do you think we should implement editing checklist to also put on our list, or you think we should have a poster on the wall?
Here's the thing: are they gonna use it even if it's on the list? I mean, we get them in the habit of using it. So I'm not against it.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing, they're not gonna be able to use the checklist on the start.
So we gotta get in the habit of knowing that we should do it regardless. So all together we decided on a spiral review for do now, having a checklist, and where students are able to constantly remember what to do after when it's time to revise and edit, to give students a couple minutes after they finish their writing to go back and edit it. We also talked about, which I think these are all things we can implement and that our principal will agree on, and also having them write first and then type up whatever they're doing, and talking to our computer technology elective teacher and seeing if there's something she can implement in her classroom to help the students with their typing skills. So we have noticed that the kids are improving in their ECRs and SCRs. Students are constantly using race and producing more organized structural response, very relevant evidence and clear response. However, we know convention still remains a major area of need. students now know what to write and how to format it, but our next goal is helping them revise and edit so their writing becomes clearer and then start expectation for grammar and sentence control. So as we leave out today, thank you guys for coming, and we'll meet again soon just to see how SA conventions are increasing. Thank you.